These are the world's most dangerous lakes.
Karachay Lake, Western Russia. This lake looks like a dreamy Insta-tourist's dream location, but a visit could be your last hurrah. The Emerald Blue Lake is situated in the Ural Mountain Range in Western Russia, and it is one of the deadliest bodies of water in the world. A 5-minute visit could administer enough radioactive exposure to cause irreparable harm to a person. An hour visit is a lethal dose. Since 1951, the lake was the site of a Russian government project, and for decades, the beautiful lake was a dumping ground for radioactive waste. One of the most incredible human tragedies occurred in 1961 when 500,000 people were exposed to toxic dust blown from the lake during a drought. The dust irradiated those exposed to it, dealing a lethal dose.
If you're new here, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload.
Horseshoe Lake, California. In 1989, as if overnight, there was a massive die-off of huge forests of trees around the Horseshoe Lake after a local earthquake. It was a dramatic natural phenomenon that no one could explain.
After much research, it was concluded that during the earthquake, an underground accumulation of carbon dioxide that was sitting under the nearby Mammoth Mountains had exploded out.
The gases were from the lava below the mountains. This release caused the tree loss too. Since then, the lake has been considered dangerous to humans due to the high presence of carbon dioxide. Boiling Lake, Morne-Trois-Pitons National Park, Dominica. The Boiling Lake couldn't be more aptly named, because it reaches boiling points with a dramatic display of steam and bubbling. Swimming is a total no-go as the lake's temperatures rise to boil unpredictably, rocketing to temperatures of 197 degrees Fahrenheit. That's around 91 degrees Celsius. Stoking this fire of the lake is hot, molten underground lava, a direct line from the molten subsurface of the Earth. Vents from the hot lava send scalding steam and gases shooting through the rocky clay base of the lake. The lake is constantly boiling and steaming, looking like a bubbling cauldron, gurgling with secrets from the center of the Earth. Lake MONOUN, Cameroon. Here are two lakes linked to lake explosions that will make you question your love of water. One is Lake MONOUN and the other is Lake Nyos, and between these two lakes, thousands of people have lost their lives. The first incident occurred in 1984 when an unexpected explosion killed 37 people. It was put down to a terror attack, but after close investigation, it was discovered that it was again the release of carbon dioxide from the lake. Fast forward 2 years and another event of a similar nature took place, except with catastrophic results.
At Lake Nyos, also in Cameroon, about 100 kilometers from Lake MONOUN, the same thing happened. This time, 1,746 people, along with 3,000 livestock, were killed by the gas explosion.
In 2003, attempts were made to prevent another disaster like this one, and a venting pipe was inserted into the lake. The idea was to pull water away from the bottom, and although the idea was sound, the pipes couldn't work fast enough to prevent another disaster. Plans have been put in place to continue finding a solution to this major problem. Lake Kivu, DRC. There are a few things to be concerned about with this lake in the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda. Firstly, the lake has layers of carbon dioxide embedded in the volcanic rock. Secondly, it has 55 billion cubic meters of methane, which is created by the bacteria on the bottom of the lake. Combine the two, and the results are lethal, making it one of the deadliest exploding lakes in the world. If any volcanic activity had to occur, or an earthquake shakes the earth, the 2 million people who live near Lake Kivu would perish. They would either succumb to the methane explosions or the gas released by the carbon dioxide. Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri. When taking a dip in a lake, the last thing you'd expect to catch, other than a fish, is E. coli. Samples taken from the Lake of the Ozarks reveal that the E. coli levels in the lake exceed normal standards for swimming.
53 samples were taken, and 5 of them exceeded the limit, with the highest reading coming from a cove west of Osage Beach. That specific reading was 12 times higher than is suitable for human exposure.
According to Larry Archer, Department of Natural Resources spokesman, these readings are quite normal and that the lake didn't need to be closed. He continued by saying that there are inherent risks in swimming in lakes and streams regardless of any specific test results. It's always there. Some of them are natural and some of them are man-made. So we stress, swim by all means, but just don't say I didn't warn you. Mono Lake, California. It wasn't always considered a dangerous lake. In fact, it was once considered to have one of the most prolific ecosystems in the world. The lake didn't have fish, but was home to trillions of brine shrimp and alkali flies. The lake was healthy and strong and remained that way until 1941, when Los Angeles started to grow rapidly in numbers, and they decided to drain the lake and use the water for businesses and citizens. The draining of the basin took place over 50 years, and the mismanagement of its waters led to the once full and glorious lake losing more than half its volume of water and doubling its salinity. It became a toxic lake, crammed with carbonates, chlorides, and sulfates. This lake has been around for 760,000 years, and plans have been in place to restore the lake to its former glory. The target level is 6,300 feet, but due to its drought, they're not quite there yet, and it's expected to take well into the 2020s before it reaches that level. Currently, the lake is 2.5 times saltier than the ocean and has 80 times the alkaline. Jacobs Well, Texas.
We head to the place where Dr. Pepper was invented and take a daring plunge into Jacobs Well. If you're a thrill seeker not too worried about whether you survive or not, then this is the perfect destination for you.
People who have made the plunge into the well have been dubbed crazy, and more than a dozen people haven't made it to tell the tale. Freedivers love exploring the well and sometimes head to depths of 100 feet, and they swim through very narrow openings, which are also very dark. Geared-up scuba divers have also said they find the well a challenging and unforgiving environment. The mouth of the well is 13 feet or around 4 meters, and jumping in is a firm favorite of many. Some jump from scarily high heights and even doing backward somersaults into the small opening. Lake Michigan, North America. In 2019, Lake Michigan had 27 drownings, which is 80% higher than the previous year. It's one of the 5 Great Lakes on the Canada-United States border and considered the most dangerous. It's hard to believe because when you look at it, the azure waters pull you in and you want to swim to your heart's content. However, don't be deceived, as the lake has massive undercurrents, and coupled with the shape of the lake, makes rip currents a huge problem. October and November are the more lethal months, as during this time there are often sudden changes in air and water temperatures which affect the strength and spontaneity of the waves and currents. Swimming there is at your own risk, and caution is advised. Lake Natron, Tanzania. Tanzania is known more for its idyllic beaches and less for its boiling lakes, but here we are with one of the most dangerous lakes, and it's a scorcher. Lake Natron is found in the Arusha region of the nation of Tanzania on the east coast of Africa. The main feeder river of the lake starts all the way in central Kenya. Lake Natron is the last stop for this water flow, though, as it's a dead-end lake. In other words, water drains in but doesn't flow out to any further river or sea. This is where the danger begins with Lake Natron. Let's paint a quick picture of the size of this body of water. Natron is shallow as far as lakes go and only reaches 3 meters at its maximum depth. It is, however, 35 miles long and 13 miles wide. The river comes from a feeder river, but also from mineral-rich hot springs beneath it. The minerals that are fed into the lake are from the bedrock surrounding it. It is from the Pleistocene period and is made of trachyte lava that is dominated by sodium content. This ancient lava has low levels of magnesium and calcium, but sports high levels of carbonate, which makes the water concentrated, caustic, alkaline, brine. In other words, very salty with a pH level of 10.5 to 12. In summer, the water evaporates and the salt level increases even more.
The real kicker about Lake Natron is its extreme temperatures. On the low end, it has a temperature of 40 degrees Celsius, about 104 Fahrenheit. but the waters can climb to temperatures of 60 degrees Celsius. This hot, salty water is the perfect condition for halophiles, which are microorganisms that photosynthesize to create nutrition for themselves and thrive in salty conditions. Have you ever visited any of these dangerous lakes before? Would you? Tell me about it in the comments below.
1. Red Tinto River, Spain. Also called the Red River, Red Tinto begins in the Sierra de Huelva mountains of Andalusia and then flows through the southwestern region of the country. The reddish tint of the river is credited to the copper, gold, and silver that has been mined along the river for roughly 5,000 years. Many believe that the Red River is where the Copper and Bronze Age began. The area was first mined by the Iberians and Tartessians around 3000 BCE, and then the Phoenicians, Greeks, Romans, Visigoths, and Moors took over. The mines along the river were abandoned until 1724, when they were rediscovered by the Spanish government and operations began again. Due to large-scale excavations by companies from the UK during the 19th century, the acidic levels of the lake became extremely dangerous. Although people don't dip their toes in this water, scientists love the extremophile aerobic bacteria here, as it's similar to certain areas in the solar system. These bacteria feed on the iron and sulfide minerals found on the subsurface rocks, and it makes scientists believe that life on Europa, the smallest moon orbiting Jupiter, is pretty viable.